Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen. Andy's at home waiting for someone to put in his countertops. I'm not really sure what he's actually doing. He's probably playing golf or something, right, Matt?
He's probably playing video games or something. He's probably got the old Nintendo 64 or something out and just playing around while we're on the show, doing the hard work, keeping the lights on here.
Yes. But Matt, of course, joins us. He's going to be here, help us with some baseball. I don't think we have any college football today, so you have to listen to the Blogger Bowl. But how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. There is a college football game tonight. It's West Virginia's at Virginia Tech, but there's a lot of line movement. I don't really have much feel on it. The total's a little bit high, but other than that, it feels like a stay away game from me. So I didn't really give too much out on that. But we have NFL football tonight, which I'm very excited about, even though it might not be the greatest of games.
The professionals are on the field, and yeah, it seems like it's going to be kind of an ugly game. Was looking at the forecast here. Wind in Pittsburgh tonight going to be around 15 miles an hour. So at the stadium, again, right, it's right at a really very windy part of the city. Could be even higher than that. We know that when it comes to weather, wind is really bad for points. Much less field goals, much harder to throw the ball. And I was joking before the show here. I don't know if I can find a Jacoby Brissett attempts over or under, and I'd have to figure out what the rule is if like passes behind the line of scrimmage count. But we just might see both of these teams just run the ball all game. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of what it feels like to me. And I think if both teams are running the ball constantly throughout the night, I think that definitely favors the Browns because Najee Harris hasn't looked totally healthy, and then obviously Cleveland has the two-headed monster at running back. So I think that kind of leans towards that, and I think that total just seems very high for a windy night in Cleveland. So I'm not really sure. I definitely lean towards that under. I would like to think right now, especially if both teams are going to want to run the ball. And Mike Tomlin, with what he's gotten from the quarterback play, is probably going to try to establish that run early. I'm not sure they fully trust Mitch, and they probably shouldn't. And Cleveland, like we said, with two running backs, they're just going to try and I think run the hell out of the ball. And if you can find that Jacoby Brissett attempts, let me know. I'd love to bet that
26 and a
under.
half, I'm looking at.
Ooh, I think that's a little high.
I mean, it does. It seems like they're just going to be handing the ball off. And again, I'll have to double check and see what the rules are and stuff. But yeah, with all the wind that's going out tonight, with the running backs that Cleveland has already, it is hard to see them throwing the ball. And we know Pittsburgh has tried to throw the ball a lot with Mitch, but to limited success so far.
Yeah, it's. I was really as a Bears fan who liked Mitch. I was really hoping he would find some success here with Pittsburgh. I thought it'd be a pretty good landing spot. No, it's still early. They are 1-1, but he hasn't looked totally great or comfortable in that offense. They don't have the running game hasn't really been getting going for him. I hope he can figure it out, but it seems like it might be a mirror image to his rookie season where he kind of overtook Mike Glennon by week 5 as the rookie kind of supplanted the veteran. It seems like the Kenny Pickett calls and voices are going to get a lot louder as the Steelers offense continues to not really produce. So I think we might see him in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll say about the total is the weird thing about the wind and the way both of these teams can and like to run the ball, it might kind of be a sneaky over spot, or maybe look at like total touchdowns in the game over something, because I think you're going to see teams more apt to run on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, run
Mm-hmm.
when they get close down there in the goal line and keep trying to press for points because it's going to be so hard to kick. But probably maybe look at some goofy props like that. I mean, of course, we have first touchdown
I was going to
scores.
say,
Any other
speaking
thoughts
of
on this
goofy
game?
props,
Oh,
can you
these
win me
aren't
some
goofy.
money
This is
on a
the best.
first touchdown score?
This is the best bet in sports. This isn't goofy.
Well, you know
Have,
what I mean.
have some
All
respect.
props are a little bit goofy. This is the most fun bet in sports, in my opinion. I starting with you, following the show more last year and being on the show and seeing these just about every week. I got very into these last year, and I plan on continuing it this year.
Again, best bet in sports. And, we were a little too optimistic last time we talked about these. We had the parlays up, a lot of optimism. So, going to be a little more fatalistic this time because as we look up the list here, you will see there are no running backs. And that really does feel like who it's going to be. But, I look at some of the prices here. Nick Chubb, depending on where you're looking at plus 400, maybe plus 500 at best. Kareem Hunt is even 7-8 to 1. Najee Harris 7-1. Just really tough to trust any of those picks from a value perspective. I mean, if you're doing a same game parlay or something, or you really have a strong feel for either of those guys, I was hoping to get Kareem Hunt at 10, but I think it just speaks to what the market and everyone is expecting from this game, not only in terms of the style, but just what both of these teams like to do. So I figure it'll be a running back. And then we've had a couple big name guys, Matt, that I haven't picked. So I stared at the board for quite some time, and we had Horvath, we had Reggie Gilliam, and as much as I want to bet Zach Gentry at 50-1, that is the number floating in the back of my head. He averages 1 target a game, folks. So I can't do it. But we've got a pretty full list. We've got another tight end, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pat Fryermuth, leading the team in targets, I believe, or just second, pretty close actually, after Deontay Johnson. Really a big body. Trubisky looks for him all the time, especially when they get inside the red zone. Again, only 2 games this year, but has, I believe, just as many red zone targets as does Johnson. If not, I think he's only behind one. And 14-1 against a team in Cleveland that has struggled a little bit historically against the tight end. Again, only 2 games through the season, but this defense, when you look at it, I think given how much they look and try to focus, I believe, on the pass rush, I think they give up a little bit of space in the middle of the field. They were a great team for tight ends to score against last year. So give me Fryermuth 14-1. Chase Claypool, again, not getting a ton of targets, but really getting a lot of usage as kind of a utility player, if you will. They're running a lot of sweeps with him. He gets some rushing attempts. Does get a couple targets, especially when they get close to the red zone. 16-1, and I said it's going to be a running back, and hopefully I'm right, but it's Chase Claypool as a running back here. Again, I think there's a good chance we see a sweep when they get close. He's been getting a lot of looks from Mitch, and we know the way Cleveland sets up, they'll probably be blanketing Johnson pretty much the whole game while focusing on the run. So good chance for Claypool there. Both tight ends to the Browns here, David Njoku and Harrison Bryant. Maybe Njoku hasn't quite lived up to what some people thought as a fantasy football sleeper, but continues to be high in terms of targets, especially in the red zone, like both of these guys. Harrison Bryant, actually, and he's just past Jacoby Brissett there, has a little more targets in the red zone than Njoku does so far this year. So both of those guys, 22 and 28. And then the quarterbacks, again, I think there's going to be a lot of running tonight. I think we'll see a lot of teams going for it at 4th-1, 4th-2, especially close to the goal line. Jacoby Brissett and Mitch Trubisky are guys that still run the ball. We don't see really as many design runs for either guy, but not afraid to take a quarterback sneak, not afraid to roll out and try to take it in themselves. So give me both quarterbacks there. Again, a nice list tonight, but let's hope it's one of these guys and not one of the stinking running backs. Now, I see AD there floating around in the chat. No touchdown, 150 to 200-1. Very intriguing. I know a lot of people have been betting on this. That's a pretty big number. I think we get a game about every 2 years or so without a touchdown. I think which ends up being, it should be like closer to 300-400-1 or something goofy like that. But 150-1, 200-1. What do you think about that, man?
I like those tight end looks. I really do, because I think, like you said, you're going to have a lot of running the ball, and I think these two teams are going to get into the red zone, get into that goal to go situation by running the ball. But I could very much see loading up getting into a goal line type set on the 1, on the 2, and pulling off a play action flip to a tight end in the back, or like you said, both quarterbacks. Well, there's not many design runs. At least from a Mitch perspective, I saw him more than enough times not want to trust his arm and try and tuck and run. He's more than capable of doing that. So is Jacoby Brissett. So I really like those tight ends and the quarterback looks in this one, because I think it's going to be the best type of misdirection we can kind of get from the run if the run's not necessarily working on the goal line, or if a 1st-and-goal dive play doesn't really work.
Yeah, Hoff, look at it. Was either DraftKings or BetMGM that had Njoku. There's a couple 20-1s floating out there. I'd play that at 18-1 or better. But yeah, I think there's a good
like
chance.
The throwing the Hunter Chubb into a same game parlay, like you were saying. I really like that too. If you're going to put one in tonight, maybe putting in 2 with each of those in the same game parlay, I think is a very good idea, because that would juice that to hell.
Yeah, no, it'll be a fun little piece, and if the Browns win that game, it probably kind of starts that way. But yeah, AT, I like that. No touchdown, 150 or better. I'll sprinkle a little bit on that if I can find it.
I have some baseball. Unfortunately, I don't have any day baseball bets, but there is a ton of day baseball today.
Okay, good. I need to take a nap today, so that'll be a nice baseball game in the background. It's good nap conditions.
One bet I didn't throw out here because I didn't love the value, but the Mariners are -1.5 at home against, I forgot who or the A's, and the pitching matchup is very heavily in their favor. I think that's a 3:00-ish start for you. So keep an eye on that one. Maybe take them -1.5 or their first half, run line, something like that. But I do have 2 bets tonight. I'm going to be fading my White Sox, but I'm going to actually kind of twice here. I'll get to it for the Astros first half result. Really just tried to find any possible way to find some value on Justin Verlander throwing tonight, who is back in the driver's seat ahead of Dylan Cease for the AL Cy Young Award. He's been fantastic. Just recently came back off the IL and had a 6 scoreless inning start. I think he's going to be very, very good tonight against the Baltimore team that I know they were fun for a while, but it just seems like the young guys are running out of gas a little bit, and that kind of happens with these young teams playing longer seasons than they're used to. It's unfortunate, but they were close. They were really, really close, but they just dropped 2 out of 3 to the Tigers. They lost the series to the Blue Jays. They're just a little bit out of gas, and Justin Verlander's starting to gear himself back up for the playoffs. So it's not like he's taking time off here or easing himself back into October. He had an IL stint. He kind of needs to ramp himself back up for the playoffs. I did find a little bit later in poking around on Caesars, they had Justin Verlander to record the win tonight at minus 104. So a little bit better value at a similar type bet there. Not quite the same, but kind of same idea. Their value on Verlander against the Orioles. And I'm fading my White Sox here. Shane Bieber over 6.5 strikeouts. Bieber has had 20 strikeouts in his last 3 starts, so he's averaging right at that 6.5 number. I think he's 7 twice and 6 once. He's been very good. He throws really well against the White Sox, and the White Sox are pretty much dead in the water the last couple of nights. They haven't been able to hit. The division race effectively ended Monday night, even though it wasn't official. And last night, the White Sox got struck out 13 times by Tristan McKenzie. They lost 6-2. They were making a whole bunch of errors here and there. So bet the Guardians early and bet Shane Bieber's over 6.5 strikeouts at plus 114. The White Sox have putting in just kind of terrible at bats all season. They have trouble laying off pitches, and Shane Bieber's going to be able to get them with a lot, I think. So I think you'll see his strikeout total around 8 or 9 tonight at plus 114. Very much like that.
I can dig it. And I'll answer your question just after tennis there. Some interesting news in the world of NBA. And I think we'll get through this part first because just 2 tennis picks for me. Again, the way things are going, Budapest is finished right now. There's no lines I could really bet in Budapest because they're not open. Looking over in Tokyo, a couple numbers that I almost bet. Our queen, Zhang, plays tomorrow. Nice parlay piece at minus 325 if you're looking to stick that with something. I couldn't find a nice partner. I might do something with that myself a little bit later. But as we look into Seoul, 2 matches, gave this one out yesterday. They weren't able to get to it. Tata Maria Linzhu, the first set there, over 9.5. I'm seeing standard juice or even a little bit better on that. I think this match total probably closes right around 22. I'm starting to see some juicy 21.5s. Should just be a really long match, even if it is 2 sets. Probably we'll try to find an over 10.5 and an over 12.5 there as well. And then a new pick, Emiratu Kanu. This one will be tonight as well. It looks like they have everybody caught up here. It goes against Magda Linette. Seeing a spread of anywhere from -2 to -3. But if you can find a -3 there at plus 110, I think that's a really nice look. Raducanu, just from a, overall tennis sort of ability, much better than Magda Linette. Linette having a solid end of the year, generally kind of makes her hay in some of these smaller events. Did well in Chennai, has had a solid week this week, but Emma, the much better tennis player, should be able to grab control of this match and generally won't give Linette the errors she's used to getting from maybe some worse players. So give me Emma there, -3 games. And Rick Daddy, any thoughts on Federer-Levis doubles match? I have no idea what to expect. Roger Federer hasn't played competitive tennis, I believe, in over a year at this point. I'm not sure when the last time Nadal played doubles even was. So it's a fun matchup to watch, but I'd be careful. Jack Sock is one of the best doubles players, arguably, of all time, and Tiafoe's very good as well. So I might actually lean towards the favorite there a little bit, but given the tournament, the fact that yes, the Laver Cupper is important, but if there were ever a chance for maybe Federer to get a little bit of an advantage from either the crowd or the players across the net and want to see him win one more time, it's just hard to handicap. From a pure tennis perspective, I think there's probably some value in Sock and Tiafoe, though. So, I like that. Jack Sock to retire if he's losing. That's a great bet. Maybe that's what will happen. And circling back, Halt, yes, Ime Udoka, as I'm sure that you've heard if you've been awake and alive for even at least a few hours this morning and on the Twitterverse, apparently is in danger of being suspended for anywhere from a few games to the entire season based on what you read.
Thought I saw the year today. Like, what?
It's so for
Brad
and
that
come
little
back to
minute for a year with the Celtics title win.
That feels like subterfuge to me. It feels like the Celtics are sort of putting that out there so the fans are like, whoa, you don't have to spend him for a whole year, because this doesn't appear to be a violation of NBA policy or any written policy that anyone seems to be able to find. But the Celtics apparently have some sort of proof that Mr. Udoka was intimately involved with a female member of the Celtics staff, whomever that may be. I don't believe this person's been identified, and hopefully is not, because She doesn't need to deal with any of this
Would
crap.
not be great.
Udoka, again, might be suspended. We have no idea for how long. So, I guess what I would say is don't bet the Celtics now. And if he does get suspended, just wait and bet them earlier because there will be probably a little bit of move against them in the long term. If he's suspended for the entire season, it all depends on, sort of who the coach is that's coming in. But we know if he's out for, a couple months, maybe suspend him to All-Star break again. It's just, I wish I could tell you that I have any idea how long he's going to be suspended, whether it be games, weeks, months, the entire season. So I think because we don't know that, it's hard to see what the implications are. But, again, if you look through the scenarios, if he really is out for the entire year, if they can find a reasonable human being to kind of step in there and hold the team down for a year, maybe Brad Stevens goes back down to the bench for a year just to sort of patch through. I mean, that could be really motivating for that Celtics team. And it's just a strange thing coming off losing the finals like that. All the talk about them maybe trading Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant, making some of the moves that they have, and then to have this come out. I think basically my advice would be is don't bet the Celtics now. If you want to bet some Celtics unders, go sooner rather than later because those numbers will move as soon as any sort of announcement is made. So I'm not doing anything, and if he is suspended, I'll probably wait and honestly bet the Celtics. But it's just way too much unknown and way too much variety in what we're seeing reported.
Yeah, it's just a weird story. It's very, very weird. I don't know why it justifies a suspension against maybe unless there's some sort of team policy we don't know about.
That's apparently what it is. There's some sort of team policy or organization policy against dating coworkers or something, unless I don't know. It's just, there is a lot to unpack.
Unfortunately, I don't think we can unpack it today on this show.
Probably need a labor lawyer, honestly, to figure parts of it out. So
we'll find somebody.
I wish I could tell you better. Yeah, just wait for a little bit better reporting and feedback here. It's just, we don't know. So maybe we'll know more tomorrow, though. But we'll be back. Andy will be back, hopefully with new countertops. Maybe we'll drag Matt back for a little more baseball.
I think I'm on tomorrow, too. I'll have some college football stuff. Yeah, let's some college football.
Yeah, we need help
Hopefully the Cubs play at home so we can get a day baseball game. I'm not sure. We'll have some good stuff tomorrow. And then look, you got NBA futures around the corner. I got some NHL futures coming around the corner. We're a month out here from the.
That's good. I'm going to need some help on Win Total Wednesday eventually. But thanks again, everybody, for watching. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Check out all our great sponsors: FanDuel, No Home Advantage, Profit Exchange. Great night for prop picks. Get in there and do some goofy prop picks entries with all these running backs and whatnot. We will see you tomorrow to recap a very hopefully profitable Thursday Night Football.